Hello, my name's Evan Popplestone from cinemasfringes.com, and today I'll be talking about Perfect Blue, which is coming out in a UK re-release on the 31st of October. Perfect Blue features the voice of Junko Iwayo as Mima. She's a pop singer with a band called Cham, and she decides to leave the band and start up a career in acting. However, during the film she finds herself stalked by a disfigured fanatic who starts off giving her breathy phone calls and sinister notes, and then it moves on to things like letter bombs, as well as a frighteningly accurate diary that's kept on a website, which this character seems to be tracking her every move and knows every slight thing about her. Things take a turn for the weird when she gets offered some rather sleazy parts. There's one as a rape victim where she's shooting a scene and it's quite clear the director wants to leer over her being gang raped on stage. There's also a nude photo shoot she does, and at this moment she starts to hallucinate an alternative version of herself who's stayed in the band Cham, and she doesn't approve of the new career path she's taken. While this is happening, the various sinister incidents start to escalate into brutal murders, and two of the victims are her own screenwriter as well as the photographer, which leads her to believe that either she's committing them as a split personality victim, or else this obsessive stalker is doing it. This anime, directed by Satoshi Kon, has a rather enduring reputation, and not just because it's a great film, but because director Darren Aronofsky, he bought the license for this when he was filming his own movie Black Swan, because Black Swan adopted several of the ideas, although to be fair it's not an exact rip-off of Perfect Blue by any means, and Perfect Blue's ideas themselves, they're actually, a lot of them have been lifted from elsewhere. The whole hallucinatory breakdown things being done before in Polanski's Repulsion, and the various kind of slashing scenes, they've been done in Dario Argento movies, and the doppelganger idea, it's a pretty old one that's been used before in horror movies throughout the years. But what makes Perfect Blue work so well is that these elements are all taken together and they make this great multi-layered effort which sort of discusses the different public personas involved with fame, the pressures of fame, the media's objectification of women as mere pieces of meat, and how this is degrading to them and perhaps psychologically damaging. It's all a very well thought out film and very well directed by Kon. He has a lot of stylish images here. It's quite haunting, this doppelganger persona of Mima who kind of bounces along the streets, kind of in a ghostly fashion. And there's the memorable image of her staring into her fish tank as the various dead, colourful guppies float up. And visually it's very well thought out, and there's a great grasp of tension during the scenes, and particularly the acted rape scene. It's kind of shot in a manner where you can imagine it really happening, and you can imagine her performed agony is real, and the slasher sequences have an intensity with a fantastic soundtrack, and they're quite well built up and brutal. It's a very impressively done movie, very tense, intelligent, and generally one of the best animes I've ever seen. Of special note is the fantastic soundtrack by Masahiro Ikumi, which mixes the kind of cheesy J-pop songs of the band Cham with a quite industrial sounding kind of slashing soundtrack that adds to the intensity of those scenes. And I'd rank this right up there with Akira and the best Studio Ghibli movies. It's really one of the best Japanese animations I've ever seen, and proves that it can go in a direction other than kind of fantastical creatures and mecha and cyberpunk. And I'd give it 5 stars out of 5. If you haven't seen it before, I wholeheartedly recommend you seek out and see this in the cinema. It's a visually fantastic movie, thematically fantastic, and I can almost guarantee that even if you're not very experienced with anime, this will be the film to grab you in. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you're able to join me soon for another video. Until then, goodbye.